Hello, everyone. Thank you for checking out this special episode of Really Dicey. This is Manny, and I'm here with.
Hi everyone, I am Banana Chan and I am a game designer and this is going to be my third time on the show, third or fourth time, I believe.
Yes, yes. And so far, all with the theme of horror involved in some way,
Yeah,
which is
thank you so
awesome.
much.
Of course, of course. And speaking of horror, we're going to talk about another one of your works, Forgery, which is currently on Indiegogo. You can go and still support it. Um, but so I guess the first question when people hear this title, what is it about? I know it's very difficult. Sounds like a choose your own adventure a little bit mixed with art. Uh,
Yes.
it's a solo RPG as well.
Yes. So it is basically a horror solo journaling game which uses paint by numbers as a mechanic. And so essentially it's about a down on her luck art forger who lives in New York. And one day she's commissioned to recreate a cursed painting. And so throughout the course of the game, you'll be creating this painting using the paint by numbers sheet alongside with her. So you'll have an artifact at the very end as well.
I have to ask, where did the idea for this come from? It just seems extremely original.
Thank you. So, some of the core themes of Forgery are basically professional jealousy and a lot of the idea of like how it could consume us and how, it could turn us into maybe not exactly like the best people as a result because it's such a it's such a consuming sort of feeling, right? Being, professionally jealous of other people. And so I want to play with that idea a little bit. I think that like a lot of artists, a lot of, people who are in the creative industry, and definitely I'm no stranger to it as well, where it's like this feeling of being like um of having jealousy over like other people's work. And especially when, for this specific character, she's sort of not really doing as well as her peers maybe, and as a result she sort of harbors this jealousy that manifests as like this demon that gets recreated in this painting. And so I wanted to play around with that idea, and at the same time, like the painting itself, the if you look at like the cover, you'll notice that there is like a demon in the background. That is actually based off of one of my friend's paintings, from a while back. So I went to art school, and one of my best friends, she went to SVA, I went to NYU, and we met at like some parties, and we just hit it off really well. And one day she gets commissioned, or she didn't get commissioned, but she was asked by a gallerist to paint something. And this was for a charity show. It was for like something that was like a group show type of thing. And so she creates something over the course of like a few hours, like a couple of hours. It didn't take her that long because she was just like, making this thing. And she she creates this huge, like this massive painting of this weird like pale demon with like red eyes and like a bloody mouth. And she lives in a very small apartment in New York, and so like her bed is right there like next to this painting, and it's like facing her because she has nowhere else to put it. And so she's just like, I don't know what to do with this thing. Should I cover it? So she covers it with a towel so that way like, she can sleep at night. um and she has it for like I think a few days or a couple of weeks or something like that before the gallery show. And so she takes it to the gallery, and the show happens, but no one buys it because they're all just like, this is like a cool painting, but we don't want to keep it in our house. um, and so uh, later on, the gallerist is just like, here's two options, like you can either take it home or we'll just give it away. And of course, she doesn't want it, so she tells the gallerist, like, just give it away. Like, I just don't want to keep it. And so the gallerist gives it away, and we forget about it. A few years pass, and she gets tagged on Instagram by whoever, like some random stranger, of this painting. And we were just like, wow, like it's come back to haunt you. So ever since then, we just like sort of like joke around about this painting. And that's another one of the things that this game is based off of.
That, wow, not too many origin stories sound just as good as the RPG themselves. Wow, that is very interesting. So. uh, the Indiegogo campaign that Forgery's on right now. What does backers get exactly? Is it just a core book? What are some of the stretch goals, if any?
Yeah, absolutely. So there is the digital artist, which is just like the digital PDF, but it does have like the demon picture that you can like print off and play by yourself. There's the physical copy, which is like it's at $30 where you get like the digital copy and like the physical copy, along with like the digital stretch goals that we hit. Um, at $50, you get all of the other stuff that I just mentioned, and you also get like a blank notebook where you can like journal stuff, and you can also get a blank canvas where I'm going to be hiding like secret messages in, so you can like find it yourself. Um, and then at the 150 level, everything I just mentioned, along with a set of 2d6 by Indrani. Indrani is like this dice maker from Mumbai, and she's just like she's extremely talented, very amazing with like dice. And I think I have a set right here I can like show the audience. Let me just like grab it. But basically, I don't know if you can see this, but basically, I told her that like I wanted like when we were working together, she was just like, "Hey, like what are some ideas that you're thinking of? Like what are some, cool things that you've been thinking about and like the themes of this game?" And I mentioned like just like body horror is one of the things, and so like anything sort of like visceral, but I also wanted to sort of look like paint. And she came back with this, and I was just like, this is exactly it. Like this is exactly what I was thinking. Like she's a creative genius. Like honestly, with uh like to me this is sculpture, right?
Mm,
So like I think that this is really cool, and it's really interesting that the way that she made it, because like the red stuff in the middle is like sort of like the like guts, and the black specks are like the paint that's a part of the game. And so backers can get two of those. And at the $400 level, everything I just mentioned, along with an original painting from the game itself. So I'm painting 26 unique paintings for Forgery. Each one is going to be a chapter header, um, and it's inspired by AI art. So it's sort of just like me emulating AI art, sort of like in my own ways, like forging AI art, which is also like a forgery of human art. So yeah,
wow. And the book is about 125, 150 pages about?
yes, they're about.
Wow.
The manuscript is all done. Everything is done. All it needs is to go into layout, and it also needs like all of the paintings done. I just finished the 15th one today or yesterday, and so I have 11 more to do. But once that's all done, Ruby Lavin, who's an incredible graphic designer, she's just going to be placing them all into this book. So very excited for that. In terms of like the editing, I worked with Karen 12s. She was just like very just like amazing at like, getting making sure that the words are cohesive and, everything makes sense. Uh, for the cover, like I worked with Alex Ekman Lawn. He's an incredible artist. Like everything that he makes is like just it's so graphic and like the only way I can put it is just like visceral. It's just like very, very, I don't know, it's like unnerving, right?
Mm.
So very excited to work with him on that. And Matthias Benici did like the logo and the layout for the cover. And so yeah, very excited to be working with all of them.
Mm.
Um, in terms of stretch goals, we have a few. And
Okay.
so, if we get to $10,000, I'll be able to work with Austin Taylor on a spooky game. So it's going to be like a digital invitation, sort of like a postcard type game, where it's going to be a mini game that's going to be paired together with like the game itself, like the larger game itself. At 15,000, we'll have a 15-minute soundtrack by David Jones Krause. Also, like a spooky sort of soundtrack, something ambient that players can listen to while they're journaling or painting or drawing. Um, an alternate cover that Alex Ekman Lawn has previously made when he was like showing me all the sketches, and I was just like, I love this sketch, but it's gonna be hard for people to like. look at it and be like, I want that on my bookshelf. It's like another one of those things where it's like, this piece of art looks really cool, but I'm like worried that people are going to be like, I don't want this in my house or something like that. But if we get to that $20,000 mark, then I'll share it with everyone, and also have it in the book itself. At 25,000, I'm including Robert Richburg, who's an amazing artist I went to art school with, on also like just getting spot art from him into the book. 30,000, one of my best friends, Aaron Quintano says he's going to be like doing the uh the like voice over audiobook. um,
Oh, wow.
yeah, so he's just gonna like read it out. And like there's uh some areas where it's just uh where it's like other voices. So I'm not sure how we're gonna do that. I'm probably gonna do some of the voices. I'll probably ask other people to like friends to like do other voices. But it's gonna be a mixture of like everyone's voices and also like Aaron's voice like as the main narrator. So very excited for that. And then finally at 35,000, David Jones Cross is gonna do an additional 15 minutes, so it's 30 minutes in total.
Once the Indiegogo campaign is over, how soon will this reach to backers' hands?
So the estimated shipping date for the digital is June. So I'm giving myself a little bit of buffer time because we do have 11 more paintings that I have to finish. But once that's done, like everything is honestly all like it's pretty much all laid out.
Hmm.
I just need to send the paintings to Ruby, and Ruby will like put that into the book. And that's basically all done. In terms of like the physical, also putting some buffer time on that. Like so, I'm estimating that shipping and delivery will start at around September, just in case like we have any issues with manufacturing or any issues with like talking to printers or anything like that. So that's sort of where the estimated shipping is going to be.
Oh, okay. So let's talk a little bit about how the this game works. And I saw the example you have on the Indiegogo site. And what's interesting about it is that uh it's almost like you're psycho analyzing yourself in a way. What I mean by that is that so it's just like a similar to choose your own adventure type of books, where you're painting first, and then how you're interpreting what you're creating, you choose kind of where to go next in the story. Um, it was that sort of the plan behind the game where you're kind of becoming very invested in it mentally and emotionally.
Yes, absolutely. I think a part of it is uh, for me when I was like writing this out, it was very cathartic because it was just like all of these very these like darker feelings that like I just wanted to get on paper and just wanted to play with these kinds of themes. And I think like playing it out is also a similar type of experience where you're just like this is very much like a not necessarily like a horror movie or like a horror TV show, but something that's like along those lines where it's like we're exploring something that's a little bit darker in theme, something that's like that we don't typically talk about. And I think that that's something that I want to like have prominently um, in the mechanics as well. So as an example, say you're at the point where you start painting the creature. So I think that up to chapter 8, it's all journaling, but like once you get to chapter 8, that's when you start the actual painting process. And that is where you're going to be asked like, what are you reminded of? What do you think about? Like, what are some topics that you just like that come into your head when you're painting? Because what I found is that like when I'm painting or when I'm like doing something uh, that's that requires like that sort of movement, um, I start thinking about other things, right? So when I'm painting or when I'm like drawing or something like that, I just like my mind sort of wanders. And so for this, you are given three options. So, your character is just like thinking about like it could be the example that I have here is blistering your egg yolk during brunch, reminding you of an episode of Dr. Pimple Popper. If you choose that, then you're gonna color the spaces labeled whatever with warm colors. So warm colors are red, orange, or yellow. Um, on a 3 or 4, the texture of the toast you grated between your teeth at brunch, it was burnt and overpriced. Uh, as a result of that, just like, you color in the spaces with cool colors. So you have like, blues or purples or greens. And finally, if you choose the third option, your sister lecturing you about getting a real job again. At least she paid for brunch. And so if you choose that option, you can color in the spaces with neutral colors, so black, white, gray, brown, or beige. And if you're not sure like which option you want to choose, you can like, roll the die and it'll choose for you. So 1 to 2 would be the first option, 3 to 4 would be the second option, and then 5 to 6 would be the last option.
Once someone finishes an adventure, is it possible to go back or even go back to certain spots again?
Yeah, absolutely. So the game itself, there are several different paths. So there are, I would say, about, I'm trying to think how many sections there are now. Give me 1 second. I believe it's 6, but let me just double check real quick. I always do this where I like forget my own work. Um,
Well, the fact that you're not too sure, it shows me that tells me that there's a lot more happening, a lot more avenues and roads that this book offers.
Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so there's 5 different uh sections where that include the painting and like the sections where you can choose your path, right? And based off of that, like based off of whatever you choose, you are taken to a specific chapter. And so that specific chapter will like tell you the story of like what's going on, and then you'll have to like journal a little bit more on that chapter. So you could go back and choose a different option, which will take you to another chapter, which will also give you more journaling options and tell a different kind of story. Um, and so the characters are pretty much the same, like, the ones that you're going to be interacting with. You're going to be interacting with your best friend Cody, your sister Kara, your rival Nate, who else? The gallerist Alina. There's several different characters that are going to be involved in the game itself, but you're going to be interacting with them in different ways, dependent on which chapters you choose or which paths you choose.
I think we should also share that this is not for kids or
Oh,
kids should
yes.
that is definitely there's a lot of mature themes in this book and even adults should be wary of them.
Yes, absolutely. So this game it has a lot of content warnings because it is a horror game, and also it does deal with more adult themes. So some content warnings for this game are divorce, manipulative, romantic, or friendly relationships, being involved in crime, paranormal horror, alcohol and drug use, crab mentality, um, professional jealousy, lateral violence, gore, self-mutilation, body horror, sex, which is bondage related, or and also demon. Um, am I okay with saying that? Should I re-say
I'll
that?
bleep it out.
Okay.
I'll bleep it out. It's
Okay.
okay.
Okay, cool. Obsessive thoughts towards your character and other forms of parasocial relationships. So that's happening towards your character. And finally, bugs. So this game is definitely not for children. It is for an audience that is 18 or older, preferably. When you're reading through this, please make sure that, these are for adults. This is not a game for children. Even though, like, I know that typically when we think about like, you know, paint by numbers or things like that, like those kinds of games, like those are you would think that that's for like children, but for this is an
Mm,
adult coloring book. This is for adults. Like, make sure that, it's all adults playing this.
yeah.
Um, and because it does deal with like some very heavy topics, I have a calibration section in the very beginning, which is just some safety tools. Even though it's for solo play, like if you feel like you're not sure of how to approach some topics, or if you're not sure if you want to continue playing, then there are some tools there for you to ground yourself, to make sure that you can back out at any time. It's not going to break the game. It's just for you to know that you don't have to continue playing. Like, you can set it aside and you know do something else. And
Mm,
there's also a debrief tool, so like once you're done, you can sort of ground yourself and come back to reality.
mm. I'm looking at the art that you have examples of in the Indiegogo, and I like it. It has a like Dali meets Picasso meets the Creepshow comic books from the 50s and 60s. Was that what you were going for style wise?
Yeah. For the cover or for the interior art?
Oh, the interior art.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's sort of meant to look like not quite real.
Hmm.
Like, so surrealism is definitely like a part of it, but I also think it's also just like it's not a space that exists in our reality, if that makes any sense. So it's supposed to look like it's from here, but not really. And that's sort of how I think of like AI art. It's like, it's that uncanny valley type of feeling. And so that was sort of my interpretation of like, what it looks like. As for the eyes, as you're playing like each chapter, there's going to be more and more eyes. And so the eyes are artists based off uh, the artist's eyes. So the eyes are like the artist's eyes, and like the more you play, the more eyes sort of like pop up.
Hmm.
Um, Another thing I should mention is that Carlos Cisco and I we've just finished writing a screenplay for the game as well.
Oh.
And so that's like a separate project that's like based off of this. And it's in his hands right now. He's taken it to his agent, and stuff is happening. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's very exciting.
Oh, that fantastic. I will hope for the best. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us about this. And to viewers, stay safe out there. Have a good day or night.